Forecast of a high 93. Thursday, sunshine will continue, high 93. We're sure to get the Weather Channel.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Greenberg for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
This is a proud presentation of Mississippi River Radio Sports, the sports authority. Live in the studio, it's time for the Red Hawks Coaches Show. Live from Wings, etc. Hear the Coaches Show each week on SEMO ESPN 1220 and 1470. And also at SEMOESPN.com and the SEMO ESPN app. Also, watch the Red Hawks Coaches Show webcast live at SEMOESPN.com. Now, let's go live to Wings, etc. For the Red Hawks Coaches Show.
Welcome in. Another edition of the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We are at Wings, etc. in Cape Girardeau, and we'll be back here again next week if you're making plans. So 2 weeks in a row, we'll be in the Cape Girardeau location of Wings, etc., where their lunch specials start at just $6.49. Their daily half-pound lunch specials, and their menu includes everything you can think of. They're freshly made burgers, wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, and much, much more. And they have their 69-cent wings on Monday. They've got different food and drink specials throughout the week, so make sure you stop by Wings, etc. You want to watch the Cardinals down in Atlanta tonight. They will have the game on here, Monday Night Football as well, so this is your spot. Wings, etc. And we're going to be talking it over with the Red Hawks head football coach, Tom Matukowicz, the reigning Ohio Valley Conference Offensive Player of the Week, Marquez Terry, who set a record over the weekend. We'll talk much more about that. He'll be here. And then Coach Ghali Muhammad Langford. He's the running backs coach at Southeast Missouri State. He'll join us as well. But let's welcome in Coach Tom Matukowicz. You walked in, and the first thing I asked you, hey, where's the wheel?
The wheel's on its way. I've already moved on, and I walked out and forgot it.
I understand.
But that's why you have a DFO, so I got on the phone. He's on his way with it. Everybody's going to be able to see it here in a minute.
Now, when you say DFO, that's the Director of Football Operations,
yep.
Joe Ools. Who?
Yeah, he does not like it when my name shows up on his phone.
But he does a great job.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, he does about 1,000 different things.
Yes,
He's
he
as
really
busy
does.
as anybody, and especially you're going to be on the road your next 2 games,
yeah.
And road trips could not exist without Joe Ools.
Yeah, people don't realize, that's about a travel party of about 125 people.
I mean, it's 3 buses.
Yeah, 3 buses, hotels. You can't just roll up on Applebee's and think you're going to get fed that night. Like, there's a lot to it.
And the thing a couple of years back, the thing I thought was really neat, he gave everybody a lanyard, and it's got the schedule for the entire road trip, times, where you've got to be, here's what's going on, and everybody gets a lanyard, so they're wearing it around their neck. They know exactly where to be and what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about organization. We've moved into the 20th century. Now we have smartphones, so now there's an app that automatically updates and texts people if there's a change in the schedule and everything. So communication's a huge deal in a football program.
All right, so you've got the app, and the players know exactly what's going on. And there is Joe Ools. We were just talking about him. The wheel has arrived. All right. The wheel has arrived here, and Joe Ools walking in with that. Jeff Hansa, the sports information director, and we're trying to figure out where it's going to go. It's going to go on a chair right next to us, Coach.
Nice.
Looks pretty good.
It does.
Now, you threatened after the game, that you were going to be sleeping with the wheel that night. Did that happen?
Well, if you thought the war for the wheel during the game was nice, you should have seen the war for the wheel later that night with my wife.
So, toward the end of the ball game, when I was convinced that you were going to win that game, even when you were trailing there late, Rick and I were looking down on the sideline, and the wheel vanished, and we were wondering, and you scored the game-winning touchdown, and then we're like, where's the wheel? What's going on with the wheel? And then after the game, we saw 2 of your players run over and get the wheel. I guess
I don't know how it happened. I just, after I got done talking with Coach Hill, it was there. So
yeah, apparently they walked it out onto the field, and 2 of your players ran over there and got it. And, of course, the wheel that we're talking about, it is a ship steering wheel. And, boy, apparently they had ordered a smaller one first and then went to a bigger one, and this thing looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. We, we're not used to handling a lot of trophies, so we broke it. Did you see a spoke right there?
Oh,
we were
yeah.
so excited we broke the dang trophy. So we got to get it fixed. But you can live with breaking a trophy, right?
Yeah.
And the excitement, and those kids deserve to, they earned that right to celebrate a signature win like that. And
it was a signature win over a team from the Missouri Valley Football Conference. And for those who really don't follow FCS football, football championship subdivision football extremely closely, I think it's fair to say, and I'll get your thoughts on it, but the Missouri Valley is the SEC of FCS football. I mean, 7 teams are ranked every year, and North Dakota State's winning national championships 5 years in a row. It is the best football conference in the nation, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's simply because they're supported like that. Their football budget's a lot bigger than my football budget. They have more scholarship dollars. Like, there's a reason that football is that good in that conference, and so if you can go there, and I think we're a 20-point dog on the road to win, says a lot about the belief. And the belief part was what I was so happy with, other than the turnover margin. I really believe that belief part is huge. And it was such an emotional roller coaster. Not only sudden changes with the turnovers, but huge calls, both ways, and just really lead changes and all that. But our sideline was rock solid the whole night, and believed that we were going to win that football game.
The Red Hawks beat SIU Carbondale in a shootout 48-44, and the amount of yardage it was put up, over 1,000 yards between these two teams. 547 for SIU, 531 for the Red Hawks, but you averaged more yards per play than them because they actually ran 17 more plays than you did.
Yeah, that was obviously the big plays. You have an 80-yard run, it doesn't take you long.
Nope. I'm telling you. Now, for those who did not get to follow the game or listen to the game or at the game, watch the game on ESPN+, Marquez Terry, the senior running back, 311 yards. That broke the conference record of 310, which was set in 2005. I believe it was Steve Chaney of Murray State ran for 310 yards, and Marquez beat that 311 yards. I mean, I've been around football a long time, probably not as long as you. I've never seen anybody rush for 300 yards, not even in high school.
No, I mean, even the first quarter, you were like, whoa.
I think he had 166 after the first quarter.
Yeah, it was pretty shocking, and he was actually, he's throwing up on the sideline in that first quarter.
Wow.
Wasn't feeling very good, but then kind of got it out of his system and got it going.
The Michael Jordan legacy, I think, went to another level there toward the end of his career when with the Bulls. I mean, he came back with Washington. But the flu game, everyone remembers the flu game where he goes out and scores like 35 points in the NBA Finals with the flu. Some guys can just dig down deep. Other guys, if they're thrown up on the sideline, you probably can't even use them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's when you're trying to do hard things, and winning football is hard. When you're trying to do hard things, you gotta be able to be a tough mentally person. You got to do physical tough things. It'll check you. It really will.
I wanted to ask you. You had talked about the muscle that he put on in the offseason, Marquez Terry, and the fact that he dropped about a tenth on his 40-yard dash time. Is he going to get a look from the National Football League, in your opinion?
That would just be speculation. So I don't know. I think they are they're now have to evaluate him. They can't just say, well, you don't meet these measurables, which it's a measurable league. But now the productivity is so in your face that you have to say, hey, is this guy going to be – I forget the K-State kid that's now in the NFL.
Darren Sproles.
Measurably very similar, those type of things.
And he's had a long and good career.
Right. But there was probably 1,000 Sproles that didn't make it.
Right.
So You know, the thing that when he gets uphill, you'll know. One is it doesn't matter. He's going to be successful. He had a great internship with the Bank of Missouri, and he's got his plan either way. If he goes to the NFL, he's going to be good. If he doesn't, he's going to be good. He comes from a hard situation, single mom. His mom's got to drive 45 minutes one way to work, and you know, it's just he comes from a tough situation, and you know, he's just done an amazing job. You know, he'll be uncomfortable even talking about himself. That's just who he is. Like, the only thing he wants to talk about is the team and all those things. But also why I think we're able to win like that, because of leadership like him and Santa Cana Arena.
Speaking of the Bank of Missouri, you said he had an internship. We want to remind everybody that the Bank of Missouri is presenting the 3rd annual Red Hawks Trivia Night and Auction, something you're very familiar with. It's going to be Saturday the 29th at the Show Me Center, and you can register your team of 8 online. Just go to GoSoutheast.com/trivia. That's GoSoutheast.com/trivia. You can get all the information. You have been a part of this for several years because they always schedule it on your bye week.
Yep.
And after the Eastern Kentucky game Saturday, you've got a bye week before you go to Tennessee Tech. And so you will be there, and so will some football players and just athletes in every sport at Southeast.
Yeah, you know, I think this is a signature event. You know, we've gone to 3 fundraising, whatever you want to call them, but this is really the Red Hawk signature event, in my opinion. You know, when Brady come up with this idea, I was like, trivia? I mean, what? Who the hell wants to play trivia? Evidently, a lot of people. Because it is packed. It is awesome. You get to interact with the athletes and the coaches, and just, you know, it's going to be a fun night. It's going to be fun to be a part of.
The Red Hawks will be playing at Eastern Kentucky on Saturday. We'll talk more about that, but we want to get into this game with SIU. They jumped on you, Coach, with 10 first-quarter points. First of all, holding them to a field goal with the way they were moving the ball down the field on that opening drive. Did that give you a little momentum? I know they scored, but they didn't score a touchdown against you. Did you?
I think it was pretty minimal. You know, I think what we got to work on is we got to start better on offense. That's one thing I feel like we haven't got off to a great start the last 3 games on offense. So that's something we really need to, you know, work to improve, whether it's a pregame or, you know, what is it that's causing the slow start.
Well, the good thing is you're finishing strong. You may start slow, but your finishes have been very, very strong, especially these past 2 weeks, because you have trailed in the 4th quarter in each of the last 2 games and found ways to win.
Yeah. Well, I think that's mindset, mentality, but also our physical conditioning. You know, Coach Napoli and his strength staff has done a great job with our team all summer, and I'm doing more running during the season than I've generally had in the past, which I feel like is paying off. And, you know, it's easy to do it when everybody's fresh. It's a lot harder when you're tired and you have these swings like we had in the 4th quarter to find a way to get it done.
Daniel Santa Catarina, Coach, he started slow. I think he was 1 for his first 5, 2 for his first 8 throwing the football. But, man, did he really pick things up as the game went along. He finished 18 for 31, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns. They both came to your tight end, Austin Crump, who hadn't caught a ball all season until Saturday night.
Yeah, and I think both of them were 3rd down. I know the first one was 3rd down.
Yep.
Both critical, huge, like, game on the line type situations, and Santa came through with a great throw, which I think all great quarterbacks do. But I'll just tell you a story about what makes him so good. We have this sign-off chain on the sideline. So if you make a game-changing play, it's this thing, you know, it's you wear and everybody makes a big deal about it.
I saw Crump had it on at the end of the game.
So the O-line sitting on the bench, and I think they may have gave it to Santa for the throw. He went and put it on each O-lineman.
It's good stuff.
I mean, I tried to French kiss him. I'm like, I want him to hold me and feed me buttermilk. Like, he is so – when I grow up, I want to be like him. Like, for him to have that perspective with O-line and just this whole thing, he's going to, you know, it's just thank God he plays for us.
The one thing about the offensive line coach, 311 yards, I mean, they can all take pride in the greatest rushing evening in the history of that conference, and the conference has been around since the 1950s. I mean, it's a long time.
A lot of those runs, they weren't.
He was untouched.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't just all him.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if Marquez Terry can run through a line and go the distance untouched, somebody's blocking somebody.
Yeah, exactly. They did a great job, and I think schematically we had a good plan against them, so it just kind of all came together. But the execution has been higher than it has been. Even against Dayton, there was a lot of plays that should have happened earlier on at Dayton. We weren't executing like we were on Saturday.
And once again, you knew you were going to have your first turnover at some point. It actually came on a batted ball. I mean, so you can't ever tell what's going to happen when a ball gets tipped up into the air. But it was a batted ball. There were a couple of batted balls in that game. But that was an interception. But you win the turnover battle again, 4-1. I mean, one turnover in 3 games. It's not coincidental that you haven't lost a game.
Right, and I'm not sure on the numbers, but I know we got at least 14 points off a sudden change. The kickoff that we fumbled the guy, and the offense started at the 30 touchdown, and then one of the picks we got a touchdown on. So, I mean, there's only, 2 really critical stats in football. That's your win-loss record, right? But then turnover margin's up there because it's a direct correlation, and we've done a great job. Like our offense, no stupid turnovers. Ball's always been a pretty good ball security, and defensively we've been able to create them. Had 3 picks, and we got to continue to make that a priority. We're number 3 in the country in turnover margin, and so if you could keep that up, you got a shot in every game.
One other thing, you get the DJ Freeman interception early on. Thing we were talking about on the radio at the time that it happened, one of those back shoulder type throws. But oftentimes you see defenders that just don't turn and look for the ball, where they could either knock it down or pick it off. And DJ, right as the ball was getting there, turned and looked for the ball. I thought that was the key to that whole play.
There's no doubt, and that's the nowadays football. When I played, you never looked for the ball. That was like a cardinal sin. Now, because of the PI, they're going to throw the flag, so you just go look for the ball. You have as much right to the ball as the offense. It's that when you're not playing the ball, it makes it look worse. And so we've really tried to just emphasize that with our DBs, and we need to do a better job, obviously. But get your head around. You've earned the right to go get a pick. You're in phase. You've got the route handled. Now go try to make a play.
It's interesting because if you watch enough college football, even in the NFL sometimes, it seems like defensive backs are paralyzed. They can't turn around, or they won't turn and look for the football sometimes.
And this is why it's hard when you're young. You panic. Like a young DB panics. It's like Al. 2 of the PIs were on 3rd down. We had them stopped. They didn't even catch them. They were bad balls. But what happened, he's like, oh, my God, it ball's right here, and I panic. Where once you play enough reps, you don't panic. You're in phase. It's no big deal. But you don't want them to catch it that bad that you all of a sudden, PI the guy when there's no reason. Now, in college football, you get beat, you do hold them.
Yep.
It's not like the NFL. It's
a spot foul in the NFL. It's a 15-yarder in college.
So, but obviously, we got to get better. That was my message this morning. All right, look. So the 2 words that come out of my mouth was humble and hungry. Like, how do you treat a hater? You ignore him. Well, you got to do the same thing to the person that's telling you you're really, really good, right? They both don't matter. The ones that matter is your coaches and your players. Like, humbly look at your game and look at what it is you need to get better. And then, are you hungry? So are we going to finish the season and talk about the wheel? Or are we going to talk about the OVC? So are you satisfied or not? You know what I mean? And so what that hunger does and that taste of winning will bring energy to your practice on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you're hungry, because you don't just show up Saturday play well. You got to practice well, and so you need that energy to not only practice hard but prepare, watch film, do the extra studying, and all these things that matter. And that's the message to the coaches and the players. There's a lot that, to be honest, if we don't fix, we won't win. We got to protect better on offense. Our third down offense isn't good enough. Defensively, got to play better against the run, and we got to play better against the pass. Really are, and that's pass rush and coverage. So lots of things to focus on and improve. And the thing about this team is they get it, and they want to hear that. And so I think they will, lock in and try to still make it about the Red Hawks, that we haven't arrived and that we still get a lot of things we got to get better at.
If I told you before the game that you were going to commit 16 penalties for 165 yards, do you think you had a chance to win the football game?
No. If you'd have told me that, I'd have punched you, first of all. That's alarming.
Yeah.
As we both, it's
now,
a rival
had
game.
had 10 penalties, too, so the flags
it was just it was a rival game. Two of their old linemen flopped. I mean, it was a bad flop, and so if you had instant replay, you wouldn't have called it. The PIs were PIs. We got to get better at them. Some weren't, some were, and so you manage it, and you coach them. And the late hit on the quarterback was stupid. That was two of them were on third down, but they had one too, So it's just, we ain't gonna win doing that. We'll lose if that's our stat in this Saturday.
And you took advantage of a couple of penalties that SIU committed, roughing the kicker, and
touchdown
you end up getting a touchdown, and then roughing the passer on your final drive. I mean, without that flag, the game doesn't swing that way. But that's the way that it was. It happened.
First time in my life I felt sorry for officials. I mean, that was a tough game. A lot of calls impacted the game. Both teams were like on edge. You know what I mean? And it was heated. They earned whatever McDonald's sandwich they got afterwards or whatever, man. They earned it.
There are some penalties that really they don't impact the outcome of the game. But I can't remember a game where there were so many impact. These are third down penalties, fourth down penalties. I mean,
change of possession.
Yes.
Penalties,
I mean, that was big. Now, did you get a chance there, and it became academic because of the touchdown catch by Crump, but it appeared that Christian Wilkerson was really close to making a touchdown catch a couple of plays earlier. Have you seen the replay on that and whether or not he was in?
Well, the problem is I don't see what they saw replay-wise.
I got you.
I see the coach's copy, which is a wide end zone, and it looked like he's in. But that's why we have instant replay, and we're supposed to have cameras on the end zone and the lines. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that play right there is why you have instant replay, right? So I'm assuming they had a better view than we did.
Well, their replay booth was in our booth right now. We were next to your coaches. It was in our booth. They wouldn't let us look at it. Even after the game, they wouldn't even let us look at it like it's some sort of a top secret operation there. And
it took a long time.
It did.
That's not normal. Like, if it takes a long time, a lot of times it's because they're doing this. Well, it was reversed. Yep. So where's the ball at? But, they said no. So,
we said at the time it didn't appear they were going to look at it. I mean, and we were up in the broadcast booth saying, I mean, this could impact the outcome of the game. You have to look at this call. They eventually did.
Yeah.
What's the protocol for that? Are you asking for the replay? Do you get challenges? How does that work?
They any goal line situation they automatically take a look at, and every play they take a look at. But sometimes a game goes so quick that they may not have time to fully replay it, and that's when you got to challenge it.
So you are allowed, you as the coach can challenge
that.
Do you get a certain amount of challenges?
Yeah, one.
Just one.
Now, and they have an earpiece, so that official's saying, Coach, they're looking at it. Because you don't want to challenge something they're already looking at, right?
Gotcha.
So they told me, hey, Coach, they're looking at it. They're looking at it. Yep, it's going to an official review. So.
We had a couple of official reviews in that football game.
Yeah.
Do you like the fact that now replay has trickled down to the Ohio Valley?
Yes. Like, there's no reason not to. There's too much at stake. People work too hard to not try and get it right. And it really doesn't. I don't think it slows the game down that much. I mean, that's pretty minimal in my opinion.
So as you're going down for that final drive, you told us after the game there was a constant belief on the sideline that you were going to win that football game? What was said? What was physically said before you went out there for that final drive?
Basically, this is what you dream about as a player, right? Like, who dreams about blowing people out? You don't. You dream about being behind in life and being behind in a 2-minute drill, and you go win the game. Like, this is what you dream about. You're good enough. Now go do it. I mean, it's a simple message, but obviously everybody there already knew that. They deeply feel that, because just because I said it doesn't mean they're going to believe it. They believe it because of what they've seen, their commitment to each other as a football team, and they're close. And so I think that's why.
I don't know if you'll answer this question or not, truthfully, but because it's SIU and you had so much success there and Coach Kill is there now and everything, I mean, is that game, does it mean more to you personally? I know you want to win every game and conference games are big, but because it's SIU, is it a little bigger for Coach Tuke?
I mean, it's not necessarily because it's just SIU. It's because they have more than us. You're jealous at the stadium, you're jealous at the budgets and all those things, and you know what it used to be and things like that. But it's a big game because it means so much to this community. It means so much to my team. And then they look down on us.
Yes.
Like, I don't care what anybody says. They think, you know, don't get me going, because I'm already – I could feel myself getting to a place that's not a good spot.
Well, I told you before the game about their fans. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's deeper than that, but I'm not going to get into that.
So beating them, certainly sweet. You get the wheel. Now you're getting ready for conference play. I mean,
exactly.
You play these first 3 games, non-conference games, for the Ohio Valley Conference, and it starts on Saturday.
Yeah. So non-conference, we have a good idea of where we're at and what it is we got to improve on, and why we've been winning. Right. We've been winning because of these things. We got to make sure they stay, and then you got to try to work on improving these things that are liabilities about your football team.
All right, I've got to ask you here about Eastern Kentucky. Man, they lead the OVC in rushing offense, 310 yards. They put up over 300 in a loss at Bowling Green, but they turned the ball over 4 times. That was their downfall. But the only guy who's rushed for more yards in the OVC than Daryl McCleskey is Marquez Terry. McCleskey is second in the league at 311 yards, and then they've got L.J. Scott. He's rushed for 171, so they've got 2 of the top 6 rushers in the OVC. They are going to pound the rock Saturday.
What's scary is they're just doing that. They're just lining up and imposing their will on people. Like, sometimes you get all of a sudden an option and there's schematics involved with why there's so much rushing yards. This wasn't. Like, they lined up and handed the ball to the guy, and they were blocking them and running. I mean, so
they're going to try to run over you on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's their plan to win. They got a good defense. Statistically, they got a good defense, and he's really good in the kicking game. So I think he's going to try to run the ball, shorten the game, play great field position, and try to win that way this year. It feels like on film.
You know, your offensive coordinator, Jeremy McDowell, when you brought him from Colorado Mesa, I think they were averaging 48 points per game. And here you go, play your rivalry game, and how many points you score? 48 points per game. Do you have a conversation with McDowell and say, I need 48 every game now?
No. You have a conversation with that, but hey, we need a win.
Yeah.
If we got to beat somebody 2-0 this week, then that's what we got to do. And I know he appreciates. I mean, he started a drive on a 30 and he started a drive on a 35 going in, and so those turnover things are what gets those things going. And right now, I think everybody's, my job is to get everybody focused on the mission. Like, the only thing that matters is winning the football game. Focus on the mission. Each mission's different. Each week is different, right? So here, this mission this week is XYZ. Buy in, sell out to the mission, and get your job done.
Coach Mohammed Langford, do you see him here? Is he here yet?
He's coming. Yep.
Okay, all right. Then I want to get your thoughts on you brought him here.
Yep.
He was at Missouri and was a star player at Wyoming prior to that. Tell us about you bringing him aboard.
Well, I really needed his skill set. One was he was a great player at Division I, so he's done it. All right. Number 2, he was a team captain, played both offense and defense. That tells you a lot about his character. And he's what keeps it fresh. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was me designing uniforms and all these things, we'd be the most boring place in America. He's still young enough. He's our recruiting coordinator. He's like, hey, Coach, that talk grossed these guys out. Like, they don't care. They're 18 years old. They want to hear X, Y, Z. So it's just that perspective. He played at a high level. He's still young, and obviously he's a good football coach. Number 1, he teaches ball security amazingly. Quez has tremendous ball security, and I know Coach Langford does a great job with that also. And so he's a good football coach. He's a great family man. His wife's a teacher at the Jackson School District. Got a little son that we've already offered. His shoulders, are about that big. And so he's
future Red Hawk.
Yes, he's a fisherman at heart, which that tells you a lot. He can't be too bad if he likes to fish. So that's a little bit about him. I know you'll enjoy hearing from him, and then obviously Quez.
All right. We will talk to you on Saturday at the Eastern Kentucky. By the way, I know when you have trips of this length, it's about 6.5 hours to get to Richmond. You like to break it up and stop and practice. Is that the plan this week?
Yeah, we'll have a stop and a walkthrough.
Where are you
going?
Not
at a rest stop.
Okay.
We're going to practice here and then leave.
Gotcha. All right. We will hear from your running back, Coach, coming up. Thanks, Coach. We appreciate it. All right. By the way, the wheel is here. If you've got time to stop by, and we will hear from the Red Hawks running backs coach, Ghali Mohammed Langford, when we come back from this timeout. It is the Red Hawks Coaches Show at Wings, etc. And don't forget their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.49. So come on out for lunch. You're listening to the Red Hawks Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN. And we welcome you back to the Red Hawks Coaches Show at Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau, and we invite you to join us for lunch if you'd like to, or come on out for dinner. They've got weekly specials on Mondays. Their award-winning jumbo wings are just 69 cents at Wings Etc. We're in the Cape Girardeau location, and we want to welcome in Gali Mohammed Langford, the running backs coach at Southeast Missouri State. How are you, Coach?
Good. How about yourself?
Great. Did you grab anything off the menu before, or are you eating after?
I'll probably eat after.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure you've eaten at Wings before, but they've got everything you can possibly want here.
Oh, yeah.
Great selection here at Wings. Let's talk about the game in Carbondale on Saturday. How exciting was that? How exciting was it to be a part of it and to be coaching in a game like that?
It was probably the best game. Actually, it was the best game that I've been a part of since I went into coaching and been on the other side, so to speak. But just to see the smile on our guys' face and see the excitement they had, just knowing all the hard work that they put in, it was something to see. So very excited.
I know coaches care so much about their guys. I mean, it's like a big family. But when you encourage them to do the right things all the time, practice hard, everything will be rewarded if you work hard, and then you still do not have success on the football field, does that make it that much sweeter when your message of work hard, you'll get the payoff when you see it happen like it did on Saturday?
Absolutely. Being a younger coach, it wasn't too long where I was sitting in their shoes. So just kind of understanding that, and when coach tells you something, you do have that type of success, you're able to kind of see it. Oh, here it is. This is what he's been talking about when we were running in the summer, the fall camp practices. So absolutely.
And as far as your background, you were a player at Wyoming, a coach at Wyoming, and then a coach at the University of Missouri, right?
Absolutely. I was GA after I finished playing at Wyoming, and then was fortunate enough to come back home and be a graduate assistant at Mizzou as well. All
right. Now, at Wyoming, what I thought was interesting was you were the leading rusher for the Cowboys, right?
Yes.
Your leading rusher for the Cowboys suffered an injury. Then the next year you come back and I think led the team in tackles. Is that right?
Yes.
How did the two-way thing happen?
It was something that we had talked about, during the recruiting process. So I know that it was possible. But I went in. I was a safety starting off and played a little bit of offense here and there. Returned punts all 4 years. Returned kickoffs all 4 years. And then I decided to move full-time my junior year before the injury. And I was very excited about it. So obviously, when that happened, it devastated me. But adversity happens, and I just fought through it and came back and had a really good senior year. So,
what was it like living in Wyoming?
It was an adjustment coming from St. Joseph, Missouri. I'm an outdoors person by heart, so I ended up loving it.
So that was a good part of it then, if you're an outdoorsman.
Absolutely. I ended up finding some really good trout fishing spots, so I can't complain about that.
The Wyoming Cowboys, and we've got a player from Wyoming, right? Isn't there a player for Southeast Wyoming? Maybe it was SIU had a transfer from Wyoming. I thought the Red Hawks had one. Do you have a connection at the University of Missouri, University of Wyoming? Should somebody decide, hey, maybe I want to transfer out of here?
Yeah. I still know a lot of those guys. So if that was happening, they fit the mold of the type of guys we're looking for, then, that we definitely have a chance at them. So.
It's interesting because at this level, there are different philosophies with different programs. Like Eastern Kentucky, the team will play on Saturday. The last few years, they've had a ton of drop-down FBS transfers. A couple of years ago, I think they had like 15, and it was a terrible team. I mean, they never gelled. But it's a philosophy thing with different coaches about whether or not they want to take FBS transfers. But I guess it's pretty regimented with Coach Tuke. I mean, they've got to be a certain type of character person, or he's probably not interested.
Absolutely. That's why I said, fitting the mold for us. Obviously, if they're guys who are going to do things right off the field, then, obviously we take a look at them, and if they love football, as a bonus. So.
Coach Ghali Muhammad Langford, the running backs coach at Southeast Missouri State. Our guest, by the way, Jeff Hanza, Sports Information Director, just let me know that the Red Hawks have received 5 votes in the top 25 poll this week after their win over SIU Carbondale. So that's good news. And later today, they'll be announcing who the National Offensive Player of the Week is. There should be an investigation, a federal investigation, if it is not Marquez Terry and his 311 yards. How neat was that, not only to watch it in person, but to see it happen to a guy that works as hard as Quez does?
I was excited for him. As humble as he is, although he's had on a straight face, I can tell he was excited as well. After the game, I went up and told him that he had, broken the record for the conference and broken the SEMO record. And all he said was, "Coach, we got the win," and gave me a hug and left it at that. So I was very, very excited for him.
How about that? Tell us about his work ethic.
Second to none. He's a guy who transferred in last year. And we weren't quite sure. He came in the spring and did a really good job. I think it didn't take long. Probably after, that first or second carry, I was like, yeah, he's going to be all right. But he does a great job. He was the same guy who, coming off of last season, one of his things was that, he wanted to drop a little bit off of his 40 time. So I think that says a lot about his work ethic, just the work that he put in the weight room, and Coach Knapp doing a good job with him over the summer as well for that to happen. And it has showed with a lot of the big runs that he's broken.
The runs that he has broken, Coach, I mean, it's every game. I mean, 67 yards against Arkansas State, 95 yards against Dayton, and 75-yard touchdown run against SIU Carbondale. I mean, these are long runs. That is not normal for guys to be ripping off touchdown runs like that in consecutive weeks like this.
Oh, yeah. He does that in practice, too, when, we run a play and he finishes all the way to the end zone. And like I said, that's just kind of who he is. So it's paid off. He practiced like that, and it's showing up on Saturday.
One thing I noticed, there were a couple of times last year where he got caught from behind when he broke away on a couple of runs. No one's catching him from behind. Is he that much quicker?
I think he is. Like I said, he's put in the work, and Coach Knapp has done a really good job just working with him and helping him to drop down his 40 time. And you can tell just with his running motion as well, like when he's breaking it, just how comfortable and fluid he is. So,
how good of a performance did that offensive line put on? Because we mentioned on some of those runs he wasn't touched. That means somebody is blocking somebody.
Absolutely. We came in this morning and we watched the game, and I had mentioned that to all the running backs when they were in there. I was like, I probably could have ran that one through untouched. But, yeah, they're doing a really good job of just getting guys covered up. And, our tight ends are doing a very good job at the point of attack as well. And our receivers also, out on the perimeter. So, Quez will tell you as well, those long runs just doesn't happen. He's not doing that on his own. There's 10 other guys that are, kind of busting their tails on those plays as well.
You know how some of those running backs are, and they're frustrating to play against, but one of those running backs where, you may have them wrapped up, but they always fall forward for another 2 yards or another yard and a half. I mean, and never are they just pushed back once they get to where they're going. They always get a little bit extra. He's one of those guys. Is that God-given? Can you teach that? Because you don't see that from every running back.
That's something that Coach Took makes an emphasis on. He talks about the value of a yard. We actually put together a presentation. We do that to the whole team, offense and defensively, so our guys understand, if you're a defensive guy, driving a ball carrier back so they're not able to fall forward for those extra yards, and, vice versa on offense, falling forward and picking up those extra yards.
It's a skill.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But he's very, very talented. He has God-given ability that, you definitely can't coach. So that's what makes a great running back.
What is the mentality of a great running back? What are they thinking when they go into a football game? I mean, the great ones.
First off, I think it's just a toughness mentality. I tell them all the time, we play a tough and physical position. So, the understanding that there's not too many positions where you're asking the guy to either hit somebody or you're getting hit every single play. So that's the first thing. And obviously you mentioned just the God-given, natural ability that kind of sets them apart. And, as a running back coach and from playing the position as well, it kind of helps me when I'm coaching those guys, just, walking that line and having that balance of not over-coaching them, but also allowing them to feel comfortable and understand what we're trying to do up front schematically, but just allowing them to, do their thing and do what they do best, and that's run the football.
So it's game day. You're going across the river to play SIU, and you get word that Marquez has an upset stomach. He is sick, and he's thrown up on the sideline. What's going through your mind?
Oh, I obviously we want him out there. But when he was off to the sideline, we have some very good guys behind him as well who kind of stepped in there and did a really good job. And Mark Robinson, who's a 6 foot, 225-pound running back who, he can carry the load as well. So,
well, Robinson transferred from Presbyterian College and saw extensive time in that Arkansas State game. And tell us about the two younger running backs. I know start with Zion Custis, and you've got a couple of young guys.
Yeah, Zion Custis and Gino. But I'll start with Zion. He's very, very talented. He comes from Georgia, so they play really good football down there, obviously.
That's where Marquez comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He actually reminds me a lot of Quez and a younger version of. So, just with the both of those guys, even Gino, who comes, I think he has like a national record or something. He ran for like 500-something yards in high school, had like 64 carries, and, he's very, very similar. And, both of those guys, they complement each other. And, obviously just being able to kind of shadow Quez and learn from him is going to help those guys in the future as well.
Well, let me ask you, since you're the authority on running backs, tell us about Darryl McCleskey and L.J. Scott, the two running backs that you're going to see at Eastern Kentucky on Saturday. These guys appear to be really good.
Oh, yeah. They did a good job last year. Every so often I'd peek out there when I wasn't making adjustments, and I'd see when our defense was out there. They run hard, and they do a good job as well.
All right, as you get ready to head to Eastern Kentucky, it's about a 6.5-hour bus ride. Did you have longer? I mean, it seems like if you're playing at Wyoming, there's nothing close, man. I mean, your travel days must have been very hectic when you played at Wyoming.
Yeah, they weren't bad. Obviously, there's nothing around, so it's a lot of just looking at the open space and the mountains. But you got a view of the mountains, so it's not too bad as well.
We'll see some mountains in Kentucky when we head over there. But I guess I don't know if it's still this way. Maybe Alaska would fall into that category, but it used to be Wyoming was the least populated state in the United States. I don't know if that's still the case, but what are the three big cities there in
Casper, Cheyenne, and then you have Laramie, where the university's at.
Gotcha. All right, it's going to be Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff in Richmond, Kentucky. Coach Ghali Mohammed Langford, running back coach. Thanks so much for joining us, Coach. We appreciate it. Enjoy your lunch.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. We'll take one final time out. When we come back, we'll hear from the reigning OVC Player of the Week. Marquez Terry is going to join us. Just broke the conference rushing record on Saturday. That's next. You're listening to the Red Hawks Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN.
ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Greenberg for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
Welcome back to the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We're at Wings Etc. in Cape, and in case you are planning on joining us next week, and we hope that you do, we'll be right back here in the Cape Girardeau location, hopefully talking about a big win for the Red Hawks over Eastern Kentucky. They knocked off SIU on Saturday, 48-44. The wheel is here. The Red Hawks win the first war for the wheel. And the guy that certainly made a name for himself, he'd already made a name for himself among Red Hawk fans, but nationally was Marquez Terry, who joins us now. 311 yards, a new Ohio Valley Conference record. How neat is that? Did you ever, now I know that you ran for a lot of yards in high school. Did you ever have a 300-yard rushing game in high school?
I had a 403-yard rushing game in high school.
403 yards in high school.
Yeah.
It's a little different level here at Division I, but did you know that you were, you had to know at least that you were just racking up the yardage, right? I'm sure you didn't know the number, but
I didn't know the number at halftime. Someone came and told me it was 190, and I didn't even think it was close to that. But it's good.
Boy, you've really got to be happy with the way your offensive line has blocked. Man, they have just been outstanding, haven't they?
Yeah.
Talk about, every time we've talked to you after games at Hawk Stadium on the radio a couple of different times, and that's the first thing you always want to talk about is your offensive line. Talk about some of those guys and the cohesiveness that they have, because you really got to have some chemistry if you're going to have a good offensive line, right?
Yeah, we have a great bond, not just on the field but off the field. Guys with Drew, I have class with Drew. Me and Suela hang out. Orchie have class. JP's my guy. And Jimmy, me and him hang out. We silly with each other all the time. So I have a great bond with those guys, not just on the field but off the field.
That's got to be – I know – you might be focused in on the season and trying to win football games, and maybe one of these days you'll look back and say, man, that was really cool that I ran for 311 yards. But the offensive line has a big part of that. They are taking pride in something like that, I got to think.
Oh, yeah, yes, of course. Just hanging out with them this weekend, they just smile when they see me. They just love to have to take a running back like me to have 311 yards. All props to them, all glory to God. All glory goes to God, but all props to them just for protecting me and having that assurance just for our team.
And some of these runs, now obviously you are making some hard-fought runs where you're pulling tacklers, you're breaking free from tacklers, but some of these runs that you have just run away from everybody, 67 yards at Arkansas State, 95 against Dayton, and then a 75-yard run on Saturday, man, it looked like you're untouched in some of those. So that means somebody's blocking somebody, right?
Of course, yeah. Just let me get through the first and second level, and then they just trusted me once I get to the third level to finish the job for us.
Now, I remember a couple of runs last year where you got tracked down from behind. They were great runs, but somebody caught you from behind. Nobody is catching you from behind this year. What's different?
Just the work we put in this summer. Just to get over that hump. I feel like I worked on that a lot this summer with working with Coach Knapp. And my guys pushing me, man. They said that's something. I always ask them something that I can improve on when we just talking. And they said that's something that I can improve on. They push me as well just to finish the drive. So I want to finish those drives for those guys once I break.
That's something that's interesting. For those people that don't believe you can get faster, you can get faster, right? I mean, what kind of drills have you used in order to get faster?
A lot of Coach Knapp has us doing a lot of drills. Use bands, explosive drills with the ball, anything. We run gassers, we run patterns, everything. Two
of the great players in NFL history, Jerry Rice, the all-time wide receiver in NFL history. And then for the longest time, Walter Payton held the rushing record in the National Football League. And they were famous for some of their off-season workouts and the hill that they used to run up and down. You ever do any hill work? And if so, how tough is that?
The last time I ran some hills was probably in elementary school.
Okay.
Man.
So it's been a while. Now you're from Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
What was it like? What was it like growing up in Atlanta?
It was great growing up in Atlanta. I know the area real well. I have a lot of love my family there. Wherever my family is, it's great growing up wherever they are. So, just being in that atmosphere, it's a little bigger than here, but this Cape Girardeau fits my personality well. That's why I like it here. It's not too different from Atlanta. They have a lot of things. It's different from Kansas, from my Highland.
I was going to say now, when you were in Kansas at Highland Community College, you led the nation in rushing in junior college. Would have to think, coming from Atlanta, Georgia, going out to Kansas, that had to be a bit of a culture shock.
It was. My first week, we were a little homesick, but I mean, once you get up there, you got to do what you got to do, take care of your business. So.
Now, Coach Mohammed Langford is a big fisherman, I guess. Have you gone fishing with him yet?
I haven't been fishing with him yet.
Are you a fisherman?
I can fish, though.
Yeah?
I haven't been fishing with him yet. So I don't know how true that is, but I would like to see.
I was saying, as competitive as I know you are, and him as well, that would be pretty good competition. See who brings in the most fish.
It would.
All right. Tell us about Kansas. Tell us about playing junior college at Highland.
It's a great place there. I love the coaching staff there. That's a great part of the reason why I went there. The coaching staff was a great coaching staff. Coach Arnold, the OC. Some guys said that's not there no more, but the reason I stepped on was because of those guys. Great atmosphere there, great coaching. That's a reason that I came here as well. Was Coach Toot, Coach Gotti got me on here. I'm a very observant person, so if I feel it's a good fit for me, I just take on that no matter where it's going, no matter where it's at. I'll go there. If it's great.
All right. Your legend is growing now because not only did you run for 311 yards, but you're throwing up on the sideline and then coming in and ripping off touchdown runs. What was that like, trying to battle through a little sickness or a flu bug or whatever you had on Saturday?
I was too hydrated.
Too hydrated?
Yeah, I never heard of that, but I was too hydrated. Just feeling a little sick. Before the 74, 70, whatever run, the long run.
75 yards.
Yeah, before that run, I was feeling a little sick. So after that, I had to just cool off on the sideline, get the fluids out of me.
So in other words, you needed the 75-yard run so you could get to the sideline.
I guess you could say that.
All right. What was that like to win that football game, and how cool is it that you run a play for Austin Crump, a play that you guys have really been working on that week, and it turned out to be the game-winning play?
That's a great play. The honor, I really wanted just to get that win for the team. I really wasn't worried about the yards during the game. A lot of people kept telling me, but I really just wanted to win so bad. I feel like it's a good thing to bring it back to Cape, too, bring the wheel back to Cape. It just gives something to the community.
All right. Do we know who broke the spoke out on the wheel? Any idea?
I don't know who broke it.
All right. Well, I figured maybe you might know a name, but I think they're going to get it fixed. But you guys know going into a game like that, hey, this is where Coach Took used to coach, and it's probably a big game for him as well.
Yeah, we're just gonna come in and treat it like we treat everyone else. It's a new week, so prepare for them strategically and as best as possible. We talk about being humble and hungry this week. So just keep on doing what we're doing and just keep getting hungry. I mean, we haven't arrived yet, so we want to keep going.
And it's been a while since SEMO has won a game in Richmond, Kentucky. I mean, this is I think Eastern Kentucky has more OVC football championships than any team in the league. So this is a really good program that you're going to be playing. Do you ever, when you're playing a team, take a look at the other running backs in the football game? I know you're doing things and you're working on things and getting coached when you're on the sideline, but do you ever take a look at the guys that you're competing against at the same position you are?
Sometimes I do. This week I did SIU guy. He was a smaller guy like me, and I feel like they don't respect a lot of smaller guys like us just because of our size. But I took a peep at them and talked to them after the game, tell them to keep going because just because of our stature, that it shouldn't limit us to what we can do. So.
All right, so you're listed at 5'7", 180. What are you really?
5'7", 180.
Okay, you're right at 180. You're right at 180 then.
I actually weighed in 180 today.
So right on the nose.
Right on the nose.
Well, hey, we got an accurate measurement. Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, Jeff Hansa had it exactly right. Now, as far as growing up in Atlanta, were you a Falcons fan? Did you play any baseball? Are you a fan of the Atlanta Braves? Anything?
Atlanta, everything.
Everything.
I don't care what the record is. Atlanta, everything.
All right. Is Julio Jones the best wide receiver in football in your opinion?
Of course. He's
pretty good.
He's a dog.
Well, we just got word that Marquez Terry is the National Offensive Player of the Week. And he is the first offensive player to win a National Weekly Award since Dante Vandeven was the Freshman of the Week way back in 2015. So congratulations, National Offensive Player of the Week. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
All right, now you can I don't know whether you text your family back in Atlanta or you text your family or do you call them on the phone, but you got to.
I'm sure my mom call. I have a great conversation with my mother every day. You probably call me like 3 times a day. So
that's great to have a relationship like that. Now you got some big news to tell her when you talk on the phone now.
My best friend. So very thankful for that. Really want to thank my teammates for that. Give God all the glory for the ability that I had to do this stuff. So
I can't wait to see how it goes on Saturday at Eastern Kentucky. After a game like that, I mean, because, man, you carried the ball 30 times. You took some big hits. What do you feel like Sunday morning?
I actually felt all right. This is probably the worst thing I had.
Is that a turf burn?
Yeah. That's probably the worst thing I had this week. But everything else is fine.
So, you are you stiff? Do you get sore? Or are some games different than others? Or?
Yeah, some games are different than others. But, I mean, I woke up. It was good.
It's always a good day.
It's a blessing to wake up. But nothing really yesterday waking up. I had just turf burn, that's all.
All right. So as you get ready to go toward game day, what day physically do you feel the best before you get to game day?
I would say Thursday. It is what I can feel. I can just after that we've been through the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, really hard day. We really grind on those days. And Thursdays we start to slow it down, but we still stay on top of everything just to clean everything up. And then Coach Golly feeds us and after practice. So I would say Thursday is a good.
So Thursday's a good day.
Yeah.
The big feed from Coach Golly. All right, you are on Twitter. I'm pretty sure. What's your handle on Twitter?
One Uno Terry.
The number one Uno
Terry.
Terry.
Yes.
All right, we'll see if we can get you some followers. One Uno Terry. Gonna be fun to head to Eastern Kentucky. Long bus trip, but boy, that should be a fun football game. You get the top 2 running backs in the OVC, you and McCleskey, and that's going to be fun to see it on Saturday. Quez, thanks so much for the time. Best of luck the rest of the season. We appreciate it. That is the National Offensive Football Player of the Week in Football Championship Subdivision, Marquez Terry, who broke the OVC single-game rushing record on Saturday with 311 yards. And that's going to do it for us, and we will get you back into ESPN radio programming. Don't forget, it's a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. It's 3 o'clock Central Time. Richmond is in the Eastern time zone, but they'll kick it off at 3 o'clock Central Time Saturday at Eastern Kentucky University. We'll talk to you then, and we'll be back in this location, the Cape Girardeau Wings, etc., on next Monday. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. So long from Wings.